Welcome to a new Daily Top Askreddit video. Today's topic:
what jobs are a turn-off for a serious relationship? When I grew up, the local fishmonger's assistant just could not get a date. My sisters joked that he was the last man on earth to date, as no matter how he washed, the fish smell lingered. My dad rented one of his houses to a mortician, and that dude always smelled of formaldehyde. Could not get the smell off. Tannery workers, too. It took a friend of mine weeks, and a new wardrobe, to get that smell out of his skin and hair. Friend of mine dated a chef. She now advises anyone who will listen to never date one. She says you never seen them. Can confirm. I used to be a chef. You miss most holidays and every weekend. You're going to work when most people are on their way home. You're constantly out late, and a lot of us drink or smoke to cope with the stress. My dating life was just a revolving door of bartenders, servers, and the occasional hostess. I got out of that world a few years ago, and now my blood pressure is normal. I don't drink as much, I make way more money, I don't miss a holiday or weekend with friends, family, I'm happily married, and I still can't help but miss it. I grew up in the restaurant industry. My father was a chef. The only way either of us was able to make more money, and my father retire, was to leave the restaurant industry altogether and go corporate. There is no health insurance or retirement for chefs. You do that shit until you die on the line. I don't want that life anymore. It's incredibly ungratifying, even if you're at the top of the game. You might be getting flown around the world to cook for celebrities, but at the end of the day you're still the help, and you're slaving away in a hot dungeon while everyone else is living the good life. I'd rather make good money doing an easy job and then cook for my friends on my days off. Currently dating a chef at a Michelin star restaurant in NYC, works 12 p.m. to 12:30 to 130 am, 5 to 6 days a week. It ain't for everyone. Yeah, I'm reading this at midnight waiting for mine to come home. I think the worst is they come home smelling so damn delicious at a weird hour to eat. What I'm taking away from this thread is, don't date anyone ever. Work sucks. Work sucks. Blink-182 did warn us. I know. Pilots and flight attendants. Irregular hours and long periods away from home can make maintaining a stable relationship challenging. For some, those times away are part of the secret of success. My wife and I do best when we have opportunities to go off and do our own thing, sometimes for weeks at a time, and then get to come back and share the stories of our individual adventures. We enjoy together adventures as well, but we also want time to pursue interests that don't overlap. It is fantastic that relationships like this exist and work for some people. This would not at all work for my wife and I. We were one of the couples that found being able to spend all day together one of the silver linings of the pandemic. Also, mental health support is hard to receive as a pilot. My ex had so many issues but couldn't seek help at risk of not being able to work anymore. A diagnosis is a death sentence. That's disturbing. I mean, I'd rather have a pilot that is diagnosed and receiving treatment vs one that is bottling it all up. Bartending. You miss all events because you're working nights, other events, or at the event. Edit. P.S. I'm a bartender. This is what my most recent ex and I said, as she also used to be industry. Anything in the food, restaurant industry really. You have to work when everyone else wants to socialize. Catering. By the time the main event starts you're too tired to GAF. I could have seen major acts for free but just wanted to go home at the time. I still wish I had stayed to see Sting. Surgeons. I listen to them complain about their wives and kids during surgery. Surgeons are most likely to cheat out of all physician specialties due to long hours and close contact with nurses. They spend much more time with their nurses than their wife. Day far away lol. Plus opportunity via irregular hours. All you gotta tell the spouse is, I have rounds today, and you can disappear for hours incommunicado. Or, surgery ran long. My boyfriend is a surgeon and he complains about his wife and kids all the time too. What do surgeons use for birth control? Their personality. What's the difference between God and a surgeon? God doesn't think he's a surgeon. How do you hide a £50 note from a surgeon? Tape it to their kid's forehead. After reading the comments, might be easier to ask about green flag jobs. Reddit would only ever recommend a guy who works in tech from home, because that's what Reddit is full of. Police. As someone who used to be married to one, this should be higher. My father is an ex-cop. He would boast that he got away with using a metal pipe as a nightstick because he used black electrical tape over it to make it look the same. When he would come home from work, he would take his stress out on me, used me as his punching bag. Number 1 profession found in the Ashley Madison hack. Yeah, thanks for that 30-minute rabbit hole trip. My God. Who knew married dating was a thing? Attorney. Dated one for 6 years. The constant competition killed it for me. I am myself an attorney. And I vehemently agree, dating attorneys is the goddamn worst, even I won't do it. We are not fun people lol. OMG agreed. My colleagues are nightmares and I have to be really cognizant of not going into argument mode with my husband when we're just having a pleasant debate. We suck. Lol, I dated one too and goddamn did that man love to argue. And he argued to win, not to resolve things. Any job with big hours or that's dangerous. I had a workaholic parent and I promised myself I'll never have a workaholic as a partner. My wife is a workaholic, so was her dad. It killed him. We're close to having 2 mil in savings. Why? I never see her. I make enough for her to retire and stop this nonsense at 45. Maybe next year she'll call it quits. She won't. Unless a huge trauma would change her mind. Maybe. For me, truck drivers. My dad is one and I see how my mom hates missing him. She loves him loving his job, but hates not seeing him. That's hilarious because my dad drove my whole life and my mom was so used to it she usually just got annoyed at him if he was home more than 2 days. They loved each other very much but she was just fine with him away for a couple days I guess. She was a kick-ass lady. My ex-wife and I had the same dynamic. I was deployed just about every year of the first half our marriage, then I left and got a CDL, began OTR trucking. A few years of that and I got a local job and suddenly I was home all the time. Needless to say our relationship only worked well because we spent so little time together. Once we were around each other all the time we realized this ain't for us lol. Clown, I don't need the competition. I was gonna say electrician, because sure they might know how to turn you on, but they probably turn you off before they leave. I had a friend that worked at a funeral home for 10 years. He always said he would have better luck if he told women that he had been in prison for 10 years. Funeral director here. Just got a new girlfriend. I find that if you spin it right and you're charismatic, some chicks really dig what you do. Edit, maybe, spin it right, isn't the best way to put it. What I mean is don't be weird about it. Dig, funeral. Ha, +2 buddy. Anyone who peddles MLM products and services. It totally wrecked my marriage. My ex appears to be happily remarried to someone who was in his downline. MLM people are the epitome of the sunk cost fallacy. I think a lot of them know they've sunk a lot of money into the shitty products, but they feel that making it rich off of essential oils is just around the corner. I wouldn't date anyone in the sex industry. Would you before when you were a womanizer? At first I was like, whoa bro that's aggressive. Then I saw the username lol. People often get tired of doing whatever they do for their job. For instance, when I was writing my dissertation, I got so burned out on reading that I stopped reading books for fun. One of my friends complains that her contractor husband never fixes anything at home. So, I would worry about that phenomenon when dating a sex worker. In Spain we have a saying that encapsulates this, en casa de herrero cuchillo de palo. Which translates to, at the blacksmith's home, knife is made of wood. Mechanics often drive cars that are in need of repair. Stand-up comedians. Weird work hours and locations. Whole months away for fringe festivals. Casual alcohol, drug use, infidelity. Worst of all, anything that happens in your relationship will be made public if they think they can make it funny, interesting. And judging from the many comedian-led podcasts I listen to, depression and anxiety are extremely common with comedians, and that can be a huge stressor on a relationship. I can listen to comedian-led podcasts as long as the guest isn't a comedian. You'd think two comedians talking together would be a good recipe for entertainment, but it always turns into them talking name-dropping people nobody's ever heard of or discussing the craft, and both are boring as shit. Social media influencer, can't deal with the camera rolling constantly, constant drama, possibly having to deal with her airing dirty laundry on social media. Anyone married to their job and is absent all day every day. MLM peddler, these days has high overlap with influencer. Most of the time they believe in snake oil stuff like body wraps or whatever is popular nowadays. Buddy of mine is married to one of these that has 250,000 followers. We were at a wedding recently and he and I stepped out to smoke and he just unloaded on me. Every single moment of their lives is on camera. Everyone has to be prim and proper and perfectly made up all day long. She's fake as shit the entire time she's on camera, which is all day long as well. Not one moment of their lives is kept just between them. On the flip side, I have a buddy dating a food influencer. She makes enough that it more than quadruples his good salary. So now neither really work and just get paid to go to nice restaurants or events, and most of the time they are invited and don't have to pay for meals, tickets to concerts, etc. Doesn't seem too bad. This conversation was secretly recorded, and she's just waiting for her views to reach a lull so she can drop the recording anonymously, and the drama can have her name back in people's mouths. Farmer, volatile income due to many external factors you can't control, high rates of depression, suicide and all the ugliness that comes from mental health challenges, inability to get away, and just an overall doom and gloom mindset. It may feel idyllic at first or the rare year things go well, but overall it's just one crisis after another. I say that as a former farmer. I was just going to say this. I'm also a farmer and I feel like girls always want to date a big strapping farmer, but then they don't get why you are working day and night, or you can't just leave for trips because you have crops to harvest, irrigating, etc. You are constantly dirty and your truck gets filthy just a few days after you clean it. Also, it's extremely difficult to make good money farming. So many things you can't control. I mainly grew hay and had some cows, but goddamn IDK if I could ever be a dairy farmer. I can at least leave in the winter and have someone watch my cows for some time. My dad just sold to developers, so no, I am transitioning out of farming. I'm very torn about it. How was it for you when you left? Well, at first not good. The only thing I ever planned on doing in life was farming. I have a degree in dairy science. Most people assumed I would just go get a job within the industry, and I had several companies actively recruit me. But I really needed to completely detach from it all. I tried hemp for a year. I grew it, processed it, and had a family member doing the retail end. But when the feds legalized hemp, when I started I was in a state pilot program, it opened the floodgates to everybody. So I went from producing one overproduced commodity, milk, to one that was overproduced even more. So then my college roommate told me the company he was working for was desperate for warm bodies. I took a job with them, mostly dealing in cell tower construction. Almost at my 5-year anniversary with the company, quitting farming was like having my identity stripped away. But when I thought deeply about it, why should my identity be my occupation? Hell, why do I need an identity at all? So here I am. I came out the other side and I'm much better for it. The answers might not come as quickly as you like, but they will appear.